Dessau is defined by Heidestrasse, the main street that runs down and connects essentially the Hauptbahnhof to where we live. The main reason people actually still come to the city, the Bauhaus and the Master's Houses and Federal Department of Environmental Resources, all within close distance of the train. So most people that come into the city just go to one of the areas right around there, and so the rest of it becomes very, very desolate. It reminds me of LA with all the traffic, except a lot more character. You actually see people going around and you have the street vendors everywhere and there's a lot more color. So you go around and you have a mix of the occasional bit of greenery, but especially lots of oranges and reds everywhere, interrupted by massive, massive streets. Dessau's industrial growth embraced the Bauhaus school in the 1920s as part of its development strategy. Mexico City's growth and political changes resulted in the restructuring of its teaching system through the UNAM campus, built in the 1950s. Both saw innovative education methods as political primordial objectives. Both schools were heavily influenced by the modern architectural principles, very much related to the Charter of Athens urban planning recommendations. Now, in 2010, after so many political, social, and military changes, were the Siam principles actually applied? And if yes, did they contribute in any way to the educational purpose?
Just human force. 60 architects and engineers were working together in this campus without a master plan finished. So was no master director.
The architectural quality is not so high, but what is the main quality of the campus is the scenography. So the relation of the cubic buildings and the free spaces. Very typical for modern architecture, the pilotis, say the ground floor is an open space where you can pass through, which gives kind of a transparency.
The construction process of the UNAM campus with its team of architects and engineers, the use of local labor force, and the continuous adaptation of the master plan shows an even greater sense of modernism, communication, local entrepreneurship, and of humility.
It's just like an island.
In a bubble.
This is an island. University City was thought as a satellite city. When it was done, the first years of the 50s, all the dynamic, all the life in the center of the town was out of it.
It was planned as a drive-in university and not as a pedestrian university. The difference between the closed and very clear form of the university city and the fragmented peripheral parts of the city, where urban development follows quite chaotic and sometimes non-planned parameters.
It's the worst traffic in the world.
It's never, always is open, has no barriers, has no fences, has no doors.
I mean, the border is already like stronger than I thought it would be. That's interesting. I mean, it's not even the one road that goes outside of campus, but you have this whole series of levels of roads that separates it, and you feel like you're kind of passing into a forest or something. I mean, we're walking in between two types of gates. You have the weak chain link protecting the trees, and then you have the heavy duty, keep as far out of this place as you can place, and then you have the barbed wire.
The campus is too big, so the budget to maintain all this space, it's limited. It's not enough.
But if I'm working in interdisciplinary groups, then we are able to have budgets from different areas, and it's okay. So far it's worked.
The agglomeration of several institutes into one big area does bring advantages in interdisciplinary works, but the social network is transformed into an urban one of possible exclusion. The walls and fences are inevitable, and the vigilance necessary, this last one working in dubious ways.
How security is controlled, it's an enigma.
they don't have guns, they don't have, maybe they have radios, but they have this Volkswagen, you know, the old Vochos. I mean, if I were a guard and I find someone stealing a computer, I would just like run the other way and call another one. No, I mean.
How is now? You know, the whole road system clean, with a very civic culture, with a transportation system, with all the vegetation healthy and everything.
The internal transportation system is mainly performed throughout private cars or taxis. The new improved bus system and bicycle system still works poorly, to the joy of the taxi drivers who collect passengers from the bus stations around the campus.
An incredible difference between yesterday. In the route, especially with the fencing that we were commenting on yesterday, seemed very, very barren, but there are plenty of people around. I mean, it's a steady stream you're kind of fighting your way through, and you're awkwardly having to dodge people as we go. So it makes it a very different atmosphere, and it feels slightly less desolate. I mean, coming out of Dessau too, is being surrounded by people. It's interesting having this narrow of a path too compared to the wide open spaces in the CU part of the campus. I mean, partially because it's not just people walking by you and everything, but there are a lot of people on the sides. For example, these guys selling textbooks and everything.
I like it because you can lie everywhere, but I don't like it because it's so huge.
Wow.
And it's dirty.